You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Tough one for the Astros today in Seattle as they drop the series finale with a chance to sweep up there against the M's. That's okay, though. Still can be a good weekend for the Astros, despite the fact they lost today, because they do walk out of Seattle, technically as the division leaders in the American League West still, even though they're now tied. They're percentage points ahead still of the Seattle Mariners, and they'll now head off to Oakland to play a very beatable Oakland A's team over the next few days, or they could probably actually pull off a sweep if they take care of their business the right way. Astros fall into 52-47 with a loss today. Mariners move to 53-48 with the win. Hi, and welcome to the Locked On Astros Postcast. Appreciate you guys joining us today. A lot to get into. Questions to be asked. We'll take a look at that series against the A's coming up in just a few minutes as well. But appreciate you guys stopping by, of course, as you always do. If you're new to the channel today, please hit the subscribe button. Would greatly appreciate that. And this episode of the Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah, the right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Simple as that. Let's start with the day that Ronel Blanco had. We got a lot of areas of this baseball game that we could talk about today, of course. The man, the myth, the legend, Yordan Alvarez, adding to the history of the Astros today with another fantastic game. Snaps his 1 for 14 coming in, hits for the cycle today. It's a great thing for him to go and do. And I can see it in the comments already. And yes, the comments are right as we're doing this live on YouTube. If you're not familiar with the live version of this show or checking out the comments, we have the number one player hater in the game in the comments every game, and it's David. I don't know if I've ever had a run-in with David before. If David, if you're part of my past where you'd call on the radio or whatnot, but I appreciate your commitment to being the player hater of the group. And David every day tells everybody that Yordan Alvarez is overrated, and he needs to apologize. That's the goal for today in the comments. That and I think we're creeping up on 1,400 subscribers. We could hit the 1,400 subscriber mark today, and then on top of that, get David to apologize for something and say he was wrong, then we'll be fine. To the other question in the comments real quick before we get into this, where's Coco? I don't know. I think she's in the living room. She was just barking a minute ago. She's not happy. The Astros lost. She stopped watching. She got in a blanket and cuddled up and went to take a nap. What I wanted to do, to be honest with you, but I can't because I got to talk with you guys. You know, that's what we're here for, to talk baseball. Simple as that. I could probably get her over here, though. Watch this. We'll see if she shows up. There you go. If she shows up, we'll bring Coco into the picture. The Astros, though, today, Ronel Blanco, not his best stuff by any means. You know, it was just not a day where his command felt like it was completely there. And, you know, you're going to have those days. His changeup wasn't overly effective throughout the baseball game. It really felt like for a period of time, the only thing that he could get over for a strike was the slider to an extent. And he still wasn't bad by any means. Look, he got through 5 2/3, and he did leave a situation for Seth Martinez to come in and try and clean up. And Seth Martinez this year has been, Seth Martinez has been a guy that's been very good at cleaning up messes and cleaning up inherited runners, and it just didn't happen today. He gave the 3-run bomb to Jorge Polanco there that really busted the game open. It happens. It's as simple as that. It stinks. And that wasn't off of that wasn't Polanco. That was Rayleigh. Polanco was off of Blanco. Rayleigh hit the home run there off of Seth Martinez that, got you to that spot where it really started to bust the baseball game open. But I just, I didn't think that Blanco had his best stuff by any means today. First start out of the break is what it is. He's pitching on extra rest. Maybe there's a little bit of rust to that to where in a tough spot, there's really nothing to be mad about, I would say, in terms of the usage today of the bullpen behind Ronel Blanco. Going to Seth Martinez, there's probably the right call. He's been great with runners, inherited runners this season. And it just didn't work out today. It happens sometimes. He comes in, gave up a couple of hits, gave up the home run. It is what it is. You move on from it. You live to fight another day, and you go off to Oakland and you shake it off. I mean, they just couldn't go to we know this, they couldn't go to all their big boys in the bullpen again. They'd used Abreu and Presley and Hader in the first two games of this series, and you're going to do everything that you can to try and, get through this one today by using all the other arms. I would imagine if it was a one-run game and, if it was a one-run game, Josh Hader probably could have gone for a third day in a row. You wouldn't have loved that, but I would imagine that it would be possible in that scenario for him. So, again, you can be mad that the player came in, of course, and gave up the run. Seth Martinez didn't do his job today. Simple. I don't think it was the wrong call by any means to go to him there because he has been so good at this season, being that guy. Just every once in a while, you're going to come in and you're not going to do it. Simple as that. And look, I mean, the Astros still found themselves clawing back into that game. I mean, again, the Mariners, there's nothing that the Mariners have done this season. I know that they got into first place. Now, look, starting pitching-wise, they have guys that are really good. They have a really good starting staff. I mean, watch it the whole series. Wu again today. It's another 2 runs off for a starter. I mean, George Kirby did it to him again last night. Castillo, they got 2 for 1 inning, but outside of that 1 inning, the 3 runs that they got in that inning, he was Castillo. They can pitch. Their bullpen, shaky. There's no doubt about that. The Astros can get to that bullpen, but there's nothing about the Mariners watching them in this series that makes me think that they're going to end up being like the biggest massive threat. They're going to hang around because they can pitch. They should be a wild card team, or at least a team that's close to a wild card team, as long as the Astros, of course, are, taking care of their business and winning this division, like we all expect them to at this point, now that they've gone into Seattle, taken 2 out of 3 against this Mariners team, put themselves technically in front in the American League West. The only thing that you watch for here is that the Astros do not have themselves in a spot to win the season series. The Mariners are now 1 win away from securing the series win in the regular season against the Astros. They have 6. The Astros are now 4-6 this season against Seattle. So, a lot of things will change, of course, with these baseball teams over the next couple of weeks when the trade deadline comes around. Or week or whatever. What's the date today? I don't even know what date it is. The 21st. We're less than 2 weeks now. We're 9 days away. The deadline comes up on the 30th this year for Major League Baseball. So these two teams are probably going to look a lot different than they do right now. They're going to have additions to them. Seattle would be foolish if they did not go out and add some bats and spend some capital on that. The Astros would probably be foolish if they didn't add a starting pitcher and didn't add another arm to the bullpen. I don't think that they're going to necessarily go out to look to try and add a bat. I don't think that they need to add a bat overall. They could probably get by with what they have. So, that's good. And as you can see, breaking news in the comments right now. I think David just halfway apologized to Yordan. I don't think it was a full apology. I think it's like a half apology. But we'll give it to him, I guess. That's simple as that. Let's talk about Yordan adding to the history books who he joins in the Cycle Club and was this weekend, despite the loss today, an overall confidence boost for you with this Astros team going into Seattle, taking 2 of 3 and getting themselves into the top spot in the American League West. We'll talk about it here in a brief second, right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. This episode of the Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you by Booking.com. Summer travel heating up, especially to travel to baseball games. It's time to explore those U.S. cities you always secretly wanted to learn more about. Yes, we're even talking about your rivals' cities. I've told you guys before, and it's the truth because I've used Booking.com on many occasions when I've been out there chasing the Astros around the country. Did it for Seattle, used them for Chicago back in 2021. I could go back to 2018, going to Boston. We use Booking.com for that. We've used them for a lot of our trips throughout the years, and they are always great and get you to your spot exactly where you want and need to be. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. So again, book today on Booking.com on the site or in the Booking.com app. And one more message before we get back to our Astros discussion after the loss, unfortunately, today to the Seattle Mariners. End up winning the series 2 out of 3 instead of sweeping it. Let's talk about supplies. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades. That's SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com. Locked On Astros Postcast. On a Sunday evening. Feels like it should be a sleepy Sunday evening because, well, the Astros lost. It is what it is. They tried to climb back as much as possible. 6-4 the final. They take 2 out of 3 this weekend in Seattle. The highlight of the day, the player of the game in this one, of course, is Yordan Alvarez. He looked bad the first couple of games this series. He'd been in a 1-for-14 funk overall in his last 1-for-14 coming into this baseball game today. And he said, "Hold my beer. I'm going to go out there and hit for the cycle today." He joins a list of players. We'll run through them real quick. Here's the list of guys that Yordan Alvarez joins that have hit for the cycle with the Stros. Cesar Cedeno did it August 2nd, 1972 against the Cincinnati Reds at the Astrodome. Cedeno would be the guy that did it again next, 1976, August 9th against the St. Louis Cardinals at Busch Stadium. 1977, Bob Watson would do it at the Astrodome against the San Francisco Giants. Andujar Cedeno in 1992 would be up next versus the Cardinals, also at the Astrodome. In 2001 at Enron Field against the St. Louis Cardinals, Jeff Bagwell would join the club. I remember this was the first one I remember watching, which was as a kid, 2002, April 8th, in Denver, Coors Field. Great ballpark, by the way. Against the Rockies, Craig Biggio hit for the cycle there. They would not get another one until 2006, where Luke Scott did it against the Diamondbacks. That was at Minute Maid Park. They would wait a long time again for the next one. 2013, Brandon Barnes did it against these Seattle Mariners at Minute Maid Park. Last season, Jose Altuve did it in that blowout game in Fenway against the Boston Red Sox. And then, of course, today, Framber Valdez joins Jose Altuve on that list with the accomplishments for the Astros. Pretty incredible. It's such a random, hard thing to accomplish. Getting the triple is always the most difficult thing to get, especially when you're a 6'5", 250-pound brick house who does run well, like Yordan Alvarez does. But just to get that, he of course gets it by smoking one out there to left center, and Julio Rodriguez goes falling in the wall. Did I say Framber Valdez? I was reading something that said Framber Valdez. If I said Framber Valdez there, I meant Yordan. My bad. I literally, for some reason on this, I'm looking at the Chronicles article, they mention, it's because it mentions the no-hitter, or for some reason, Framber Valdez throwing a no-hitter last year at the top of this article. So, yeah, Yordan Alvarez. But to get that triple, Julio Rodriguez, we'll see. I don't think the Mariners ever said anything about what happened to him exactly, or what the status is with him. Be interesting to see if it's something serious. It looked like it was something serious when he hit the wall, came down. And that would be a just absolute destroyer for the Mariners this season. For a guy, he's not been great this year by any means, but he's been hot of late. Looks like he's starting to turn around his season quite a bit. They could not afford to lose him, especially given how bad the rest of their offense is. Then they'd have to go out and add even more to their team at the deadline. But their owner, or not their owner, their GM, Jerry DiPoto, he is the captain of making 1 billion trades at once. So maybe he'd be up for the task. But Yordan, cool moment. Such a rare, weird thing for the Astros. This is a team that has a lot of those milestones, though. I'd have to go compare it to the others. There's been 2 cycles now in baseball this year. I think the number all time in Major League Baseball is around 350 cycles have been accomplished in the sport. So look, it's not a ton. And the Astros entering this one had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's the 10th in Astros franchise history. So, I mean, out of the 350, basically, or close to 350, whatever it is, they've got 10 of them. And then you add up the no-hitters as well. I mean, the Astros have a ton of no-hitters, one of the highest totals ever in the sport. I'm just going to Google it here live on the show. I know it's higher than basically almost every team in the American League at this point. It may be only the Dodgers have more, something like that. I'd have to go find it. It's whatever. It's up there. If somebody knows it off the top of their head, just go ahead and send it into the comment, and I'll spout it off and just take you for your word. Oh, here it is. Here's the list. Most no-hitters. Astros are 1, 2, 3, 4 all time with 17. Only teams with more: Dodgers, number 1. White Sox, number 2. Red Sox, number 3. Then the Astros are tied with the Cubs and the Reds and the Giants for the 4th most in Major League Baseball. So, and the Astros, of course, have thrown 1 this season. It feels like they throw 1 just about every season at this point. And the last time that 1 was thrown against the Astros, I bet you can't remember. It was a perfect game. I believe it was a perfect game. Matt Cain of the Giants, 2012 at AT&T Park. That was back in the bad Astro days. That was a lineup that was just, you and I could go out and throw a no-hitter against that Astros team. It was that freaking awful. So, again, cool thing for Yordan Alvarez. Glad he was able to pull it off. Something to add to your plaques and everything. When the one day comes around that he goes off and gets his plaque at the Hall of Fame or whatever. I don't know. I don't think they're going to put cycle on it, but to go along with all his other accomplishments, that'll be something that we'll all at least remember when he had it. Maybe we remember it a little bit more if they won the game, but cool still to see it happen because it doesn't happen a lot. Simple as that. Let's get to the confidence level. Where's the confidence level after this past weekend where the Astros do take 2 out of 3, and we'll take a close look at the series against Oakland and just how important it is to, of course, go out there and, well, do what you're supposed to do against a bad team. Win at a very high clip. We'll do that next here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. I love going to baseball games. You love going to baseball games, and why wouldn't you? And the place to get your tickets to go to the baseball games is the Game Time app. Browse through the app right now. Go download it. Browse through it. Check out the prices across the board for any high-profile event. It's absolutely fantastic. You want to watch the Astros at home? You want to watch the Astros on the road? Game Time is the app that you need to be doing to get yourself those tickets. Big game next weekend. Dodgers in town for 3. Get those tickets on the Game Time app. Priority last-minute deals on that Game Time app will save you up to 60% on last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats with zone deals. You can take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Locked On Astros Postcast continues here for a few more minutes on the Locked On Sports Houston page. Oh, thank you, Matt, for letting me know. Julio Rodriguez, X-rays negative, MRI tomorrow. So I'd imagine he's still going to miss at least a couple of games for the Mariners. We'll see what happens for them with him. They need him, that's for sure, but it's not the Astros' problem by any means. You don't want to see anybody get hurt like that, of course. He's a good player. Just saying, it's just not the Astros' problem. They've got their own issues to worry about, like getting Kyle Tucker back out on the field, who took part in defensive drills today. Still no word on if he's running or whatever the heck it is. I don't know. We'll see. It's got a little bit of that Lance McCullers feel to it. Maybe one of these days he'll come back. I don't know if Lance McCullers will come back. I just don't. Here's my guess. Okay, this is off topic here. On the 21st of July, Lance McCullers won't pitch this season. I know, shocking, right? That's just going to be my total guess. My guess he's going to retire. No, he's not going to retire. He's got like 2 or 3 years left at $17 million a year. He's not going to retire from that. He is going to get every penny that he can, and I don't blame him for at least getting it when you sign the contract, and then you can ride off into the sunset and be on the pre-game, post-game shows on TV. That's Lance McCullers' future. He's going to be on TV. That's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to be on TV for the Astros pre- and post-game shows. 2 more years, by the way, for McCullers at $17.7 million. So he can be broadcasting by 2027. Be a good time for him. Let's go ahead and start practicing now. Confidence level for the Astros, where you're at with them after this weekend. I think no, Jesus won't come back before Lance McCullers does. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he will. Who knows? There's a lot of things that could come back before Lance McCullers does. It's whatever. The confidence level, where are you at with the team right now? I'd still sky high. I know that they lose today. Overall, great weekend. They needed to go into Seattle and really make a statement, and they did that, I thought, the first 2 games. The first game, they went out there and they beat their ace, and their, I want to call him new ace, Hunter Brown, based off the way that he's pitched for the last 2 months now, has pitched like a staff ace. He went out there and out-dueled their ace, and then the bats did enough to get a victory. And then the next night, of course, they fall behind. Julio Rodriguez hits that home run. The Seattle fan base is all, geared up and just raving, and they're acting like they've won the game in the 7th inning or the 6th. It was the bottom of the 6th when he hit that. And he's out there, doing the trident and freaking out and whatever and getting the crowd going. And then, boom, Jeremy Pena. Or was that Jeremy Pena? Who the heck? Like, I've slept since then. I'm going to be honest. I want to take a nap right now. Then they come back and they win. It was Jake Myers. Why am I thinking Jeremy Pena? Jeremy Pena hit the home run today. Jeremy Pena looked like he was going to hit a home run last night too. And then Yainer Diaz hit one late last night for the insurance runs. I just think it's a complete 180 from where we were early in the season. It's amazing to have that feeling of confidence in this baseball team. It's great. And I've walked away watching them play Seattle head to head. And I think that they're still on a different level than that Seattle team. I know that the records are, virtually the same right now. But yeah, I think there's just a clear difference when you watch the 2 teams. And it all comes back to look, Seattle hit a couple home runs today. You keep them in the ballpark, they're not winning baseball games. They can't hit. They just can't. Simple as that. So if I put it on a scale of 1 to 10, my confidence right now in the Astros, I'd say a solid 7. I don't want to get too high just yet. Like, they go out and they get to like 10, 15 games over 500 in the second half, then I'll probably be back up there, to 8 or 9. Right now, solid 7 is where I sit. And then they have a schedule now going ahead. We'll take a look now at this Oakland series real quick. But this schedule, look, there's some difficult in it coming up. They've got Oakland for 3, but then they're going to face the Dodgers at home. And, Pittsburgh's coming to town as well, and they're not a pushover by any means. We'll see if they see Paul Skeens in that series. You see Paul Skeens, guess what you're probably going to do? Probably going to lose to him. But the Pirates are a winning team right now. They have a record over 500 by 1 game. So it's a tough homestand. I think, to steal the words from Jeff Blum that he said on the broadcast today, it's an aggressive homestand. And then it follows with Tampa as well on this homestand. Tampa's down. They lost Yandy Diaz. Sounds like it's going to be for a while. They've not been very Tampa-ish this year. They're hovering around 500. But, they're going to pitch probably pretty decently. They're going to make games tight. And you go on the road, you take on the Rangers in Arlington, which If they are not sellers at the deadline, they're probably going to be buyers to an extent, and they'll have a different looking team for that series. Then you go to Boston, then again with Tampa, you do get a little bit of a breather against the White Sox, and then you get Boston again at home, and then you have to go to Baltimore for 4, to the Phillies for 4 or for 3, then you got Kansas City at home for 4. The next month is going to be difficult, and this is going to be the true test of this team. Are they the team that is actually back to where they want to be, and they're going to beat good teams consistently, or do they kind of go back into a shell and get beat around a little bit? That's one of the things. Now, look, I know it's gotten better as the season's moved along. You go look at their record against teams with a record 500 or better. They're 18-25. It's not wonderful by any means. I mean, you go look at division leaders across the board, Baltimore and the Yankees, both with winning records over in the East against teams with winning records. In the Central, the Guardians with a winning record against teams with a winning record. Over in the NL East, the Phillies and the Braves both with winning records against teams that are winners. Same can be said for the Brewers. Same can be said for the Dodgers as well. Theirs isn't that great, though, 28-22, like you'd expect it to be. But again, that just kind of gets back to early in the season was not very good, and they've now gotten fat and happy in a fat and happy portion of the schedule. Things are going to toughen up a little bit. Let's see how they do. But over the next 3 days, they've got the easy portion of the schedule again against an Oakland team that's can't just expect to walk by them. They've scored more runs per game than anybody in the month of July. Now, it's been aided by a few, blowout games. But still, they scored more runs per game than anybody in the month of July. Spencer Arrighetti tomorrow for the Astros up against Hogan Harris. On Tuesday, it will be Jake Bloss up against Osvaldo Beto. And then Wednesday will be a day game, 2:37. Hunter Brown, TBD for the A's for that one. Of course, we'll be with you after all of them. It'll be late night West Coast baseball the next couple of nights. 8:40 first pitch for the first 2, then 2:37 on Wednesday. But I'll be with you for every single game. So, of course, don't forget to stop by, say hello, watch the show, spread the show, spread the channel, spread the love in general. Hit the subscribe button. We're creeping in on 1,400 subscribers. I appreciate you guys. The march to 1,500 continues. Then it'll be the march to 2,000. And eventually it's going to be the march to 1 million. Let's just put it that way. Thank you again for joining me today. Appreciate you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. We'll talk to you late night tomorrow night after Astros and A's right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.